Yo, what is good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 7th part of What If Deku Had a Titan Crystallization Quirk. Let's go!
Take my hand, come on, babe, you understand, I wanna stay, 'cause I don't wanna walk away, 'cause I don't wanna walk away, 'cause I don't wanna walk away.
Now, sorry about last part. Yeah, I do remember it was kind of bad. Yeah, it wasn't a great recording session. I don't know, I just rushed it and was under stress to upload. But anyway, I hope that this part is a lot better. It should be a lot better. But anyway, that's pretty much that. So remember, if you guys do enjoy this, be sure to like, subscribe, all of that jazz. All the stuff down in the description, all the music, all the links, all of that down in the description with Saint, Crown Fiend, who else? Samuel Kim, he's got music down there. And yeah, that's pretty much that. So I do hope you guys do enjoy this part. And yeah, just remember, God is awesome, you guys are too. And let's just get straight into this epic what if. But your final exams are coming up, and you need to prepare. Hearing that that the final exams are coming up, everyone starts to kind of fret and freak out that they aren't smart enough and they will not pass, when Yorozu suggests the idea that they can go study with her. So a lot of them take up that opportunity. During this time, Deku, being the smart little boy that he is, does study, but he also trains a lot, as he knows that the practical won't be the same. He knows that since they've had villain attacks, it will probably be a bit different, so he trains his absolute heart out. As he also helps Mina, Kirishima and Kaminari when needed with their training and studying as well. Them also going with Yorozu since she's the smartest in the class. But a few weeks pass as the day of the final exams arrive. As over this kind of the written portion, Deku does alright. Like, he's not a dumb kid, so he does very well in the written portion. As after the written portion is finished, they are then taken to a mock city, where they see all the teachers, and it is explained that they will not be fighting robots, they will be fighting the teachers. So all the fights pretty much go the same, with all the fights, everyone fighting the same teachers, apart from Zero. He fights with somebody else, and he actually passes this time. So yeah, that pretty much happens. And it is revealed that Deku and Bakugo will be fighting All Might, so that's nice. But the rest of the fights do go the same, as I did state. With Mina and Kaminari's fight, they do actually pass, with Kaminari having one for all. Not that anybody knows that it's one for all, they just think that he's a speedy boy. But they do eventually find the exit. During Kirishima and Sato, I think his name? Yeah, Sato. Yes. Yeah, Sato, Kirishima and Sato's fight. Kirishima is able to beat Cemento since he is massive. Have you seen that man? But yeah, so he is able to defeat Cementos. And yeah, so after this, Bakugo and Izuku Midoriya's fight then arrives, with Izuku thinking like, hey, or suggesting, hey, like, Bakugo, I know that we don't like each other, we've got a bad history, but you gotta understand, bro, we got to work together as to defeat All Might. He's the #1 hero for a reason. Shut up, damn Deku. I'm not gonna work with you. I'm gonna beat him with my own power. Not with your useless quirk. As they're arguing, the exam then starts with a massive shockwave airwave blasting into them, Deku being able to force up a crystal barrier in front of them, blocking the attack and shielding both him and Bakugo. After Deku puts down the crystal wall, Bakugo immediately blasts off, with All Might appearing in front of him and punching him square in the face, slamming him into a building, putting him out of the fight. After this, All Might then charges after Deku, with Deku evading and dodges with his crystal quirk, using his crystals to slide past and dodge and block with his crystals, sometimes landing a couple of hits with some pillars or some spikes trying to hit him, but All Might is too strong. He is the #1 hero for a reason. With Deku Deku trying to hit and evade and trying to just wear out All Might, but from where it seems that he's going to be worn out before All Might is. But as everything does start to seem kind of dim, they then hear explosions kind of from a building beside them, as the bottom floor of the building explodes, with Bakugo rushing out of it. As he blasts out, he then causes a large explosion in All Might's face, pulling the pin in his gauntlet as it lets off a giant explosion into All Might's face, stunning him briefly. But that is all that Izuku needs, as he shoots crystal at both his hands, then his legs, and then freezing his entire body. Deku then going up and putting the cuffs on All Might's hands, winning the final exams practical fight. After everyone kind of finishes their fights, they are then sent home, where after the next day they come back in and Aizawa declares no one's actually going to be going, everyone's going to be going to the training camp since nobody failed. So that's very fun, and he does explain even if they didn't pass, they would have still gone, they'll just have to do extra classes. But since not everybody passed, none of that's needed, so that's fine. Bakugo was almost there, but he still helped. If he stayed in that building, he wouldn't have passed, but luckily he let off that explosion, therefore giving them the win. After this is all explained, they are then given a couple days before they get on the bus and go to the forest training camp. During that time, they did also go to the mall, but since, Shigaraki doesn't really want to die, he doesn't go and threaten them, because he realized that kid just blew the Nomu's head off with one swing. That man would end his career in a second. But that's that. So everything goes smoothly as they get on the bus and go to the training camp. While they're driving, Mina is sitting next to him as Deku and Mina are both kind of cuddling up to each other. Everybody knows that they are kind of together and they are dating at this point. It's pretty obvious. So they kind of just chill out as everyone is talking. After a few hours, the bus stops at this little lookout site as they can look over the forest. After everybody gets off the bus, they are then greeted by the wild pussycats, with everyone feeling it's a bit weird, like why are they greeting us here and not at the forest training camp? But then they realize this is the forest training camp, but it's too late, with Pixie Bob slamming her hands on the ground and the mountain moving and wobbling and moving around like jelly, then flinging them off of the building or off of the cliff as they fall into the forest below. As they are falling down, Deku uses his crystal to make a slide down as to not hurt everybody, and so they don't get hurt when they hit the ground. So they all slide down safely and happily, not hurting themselves. After they all look up, they see that or look up at the cliff, they all see that everybody's leaving, and they should probably go, with Aizawa explaining that they need to be back in a few hours or they're not getting dinner. Which definitely motivates them, with them then seeing that this won't be as easy as they originally thought, with giant monsters, or mud monsters, attacking them. When this all occurs, Deku, thinking quickly, uses his quirk, slamming his hands on the ground as crystals, or his Ice Burst crystal, blasts all across the forest, freezing all of the trees, all the mud monsters, everything for hundreds of meters, freezing everything and giving them a good head start, as so they can get there quicker. Pixie Bob, thinking that this is quite impressive. After they all kind of get through, they then are greeted by more monsters, but Deku is not able to use that move again. He's already pretty exhausted from using that. That was the limit of his quirk. He couldn't do any more. And all he could really do was fight off monsters, sending pillars, but at that point he was already still very tired. When they all arrive, Deku then sees a kid just standing there in the corner, being kinda mad. With Deku, he goes up and says g'day to the kid. He goes down on one knee and he's like, hey man, how's it going? With the kid just reeling back his fist and punching Deku in the nads. But as this happens, the boy pulls back his hand in pain, rubbing it, and tears starting to swell up in his eyes before he runs away. If you're wondering, Deku literally titanized his pants as to not get hurt in the nads, as he saw the kid's punch coming from a mile away. After this, Mandalay apologizes for Koda's actions before they are all given a little bit of a break. They are given food, a bath, etc, etc, as they all go back and have a good sleep, for they're going to need it for the next day. Over the next few days, Deku has been given the task to use his quirk to use pretty much what he did during the kind of way there, trying to expand his crystal length as far as possible constantly, as he has to keep increasing the length and the radius of his crystals as it just goes further and further out, this exhausting him, as he's given maybe 30 minutes to send it as far as he can, given a 10-minute break before he does it again. As this happens for over multiple days, Deku also using his quirk to build giant pillars shooting into the sky before releasing all the crystal and stopping it before doing it again. He also does this when he puts his hand on the ground, causes the radius blast. When he's finished, he then evaporates and disfigures the crystal as to have another chance in the same spot, with the mark that he got up to being marked with a kind of vivid or a sharpie or something, or a certain mark as to see how far he got. After a few kind of days or nights later, they are then told that they are going to be doing the test of courage. With Deku, he goes with Mina. When they go through, they're scared by Mina's scared by multiple other people jumping out and scaring them. Deku doesn't really flinch. He does jump a little bit, as he wasn't expecting a couple of them, but he still doesn't get scared. He's very chillaxed during this entire thing, with Mina just holding onto his arm the entire time, shivering like mad. As they're going through, they are then scared by Kendo and Tetsu Tetsu. After this, they then smell smoke as all four of them are wondering what is going on. They smell smoke and then they look further into the forest, seeing a blue glow. As this happens, they then see this certain kind of purpley greeny gas. As before anyone could really react, Deku puts his hand, or doesn't even put his hand on the ground. He just crystallizes everything for miles, blasting crystal everywhere, freezing all the villains, trees, even all the heroes and heroes in training, everybody that is in I wouldn't even, a 5-kilometer radius, I'd say. Everyone in that radius being frozen. After realizing who the heroes are and who the villains are, Deku releases the heroes. Deku didn't freeze the three that were with him, since he knew that they weren't villains. But yeah, so he could sense who the heroes were and who the villains were as he released the heroes. After kind of this, he then sees something on the mountain. He hears a certain scream or something. He hears something on the mountain, or beside them, as Deku then, without anybody even being able to say another word, he blasts up, shooting up with a pillar of his Titan Crystal. As he's flying through the air, he sees a gigantic hulking figure standing there, holding on to Koda by his neck, strangling the poor kid, as Deku uses his crystal as fast as he can, shooting it from his feet as it shoots down into the ground and freezing, or crystallizing and freezing, the villain's arms and legs. The villain we know as Muscular then dropping Koda as he runs away before Deku, without the villain even really knowing what hit him, forming the giant Warhammer, swinging it back as it hits the villain square in the back, him not even being able to muscular, the villain not even being able to form any muscles or muscle fibers on his back, as he didn't even know what was happening before he is slammed square in the back straight into the cliff face behind them, knocking the villain out. After the villain is sent into the cliff, Deku thinks quickly as he freezes the villain into the cliff, stopping him from moving. All the villains after this are captured, with Deku being told to let a couple of them escape so that they can find the villain base later, as they will be led to the villain base very soon, or they're not really released, as more they are led to believe that they escaped. As this happens, they are kind of trackers are put on them, also known as Deku's Titan Crystal, as he could probably sense where they were and he could be more of a GPS to where to find them. A few hours later, while everybody is kind of chilling out, no one's actually injured. Absolutely no one is injured, with the situation being resolved before anyone could really react. As while everybody is kind of chilling out and kind of chilling out and realizing and trying to get over what just happened, and they just had another villain attack but was stopped by Izuku once again, Deku is thanked for taking out all the villains, as one of the heroes, kind of the hero commission people in charge of taking out the League of Villains, then approaches him. Young man, Izuku Midoriya, I do believe you've been called. Oh, your name is. Yes sir, that's me, sir. Is there anything I can do for you? Yes, Mr. Midoriya. it was probably explained to you earlier that you were asked to release a few of the villains as so we could find their base. Yes, sir, that I was informed of that. Is there any reason why you need me? Do you need me to write down where they are? I'm not sure if I could do that. I just have, like, it's more of a BP monitor. I just know kind of if they're close or not, but that's pretty much it. Yes, Mr. Midoriya, that's exactly why. We need you to come to the villain raid. As far as we know and as far as we've been informed, your quirk is very useful. Is it true that it is possibly the most unbreakable substance on the planet? That is, as far as I know, sir. Yeah, I don't really know. As far as I know, sir, that is the case. Well, then, we do need your help, Mr. Midoriya. Would you be willing to help us take down the League of Villains? Yes, sir, I would be happy to. Just, what do I need to do? Alright. We are now at the League of Villains hideout, with Shigaraki literally losing his marbles, as he's freaking out, asking the remainders, which there's only 3 of them, that being Mr. Compress, Darby, and Twice. The rest of them being captured very easily. Lord Shigaraki freaking out, asking them why didn't they take down that kid. They were specifically asked to take down that crystal boy, the one that took down the Nomu. The guy saying, "We're sorry, like, the guy took us all out immediately, only we were able to break out because of us using our quirks." Shigaraki freaking out still until they see something glimmer in the side of the room, in this little corner, before it explodes with blue crystal forming everywhere in the room, freezing everyone from head to toe. Only their heads being able to show, or I should say shoulders to toe, so that they are able to breathe. All Might then busting in with him saying his trademark kind of catchphrase, I am here. Yeah, I really didn't need to say that, but we gotta have an I am here in like every part. Yeah. So then after this, the villains are kind of freaking out. Shigaraki having a conniption fit as he's like, "Oh mate, I hate you. I hate you." Before black sludge then starts oozing out of all of their mouths, them then being portaled away. All Might freaking out and getting mad at himself, but knowing exactly where they are. A few blocks down is all the villains, Shigaraki, Mr. Compress, Darby, and Twice are portaled and kind of appear in this certain area, with multiple heroes all around the area, all hurt and kind of damaged and taken down, with everybody else kind of freaking out and not knowing what to do. After this, they then see something flying through the sky before a smash. That was a horrible All Might impression, but it's a smash before they hear a smash and a giant gust of wind blasting them as All For One appears, blocking the blow and holding All Might in place, holding his fist, mocking him, saying that he is weak. He's weaker since the last time they have fought. All Might, not taking any of it, starts barraging and putting the hands on All For One. But All For One being able to handle him pretty easily. The rest of the villains not really knowing what to do. Kurogiri's been taken out. The others are all not really knowing what to do. As while they're kind of freaking out, trying to get Kurogiri to wake up, they then see some blue flicker in front of them once again, before they are frozen head to toe. Head to toe this time, so they cannot move. All for One being done the same. He's been done dirty, as he has been frozen head to toe, unable to move, surrounded in meters of crystal as to not able him to move. Spikes being shot through the crystal, stabbing into All for One to make him not be able to move and not resist. As everything is kind of taken, everything sorted out, everyone's done, sorted and thanked. After this, Deku is thanked for what he had done, for helping out and even taking down the League of Villains. All he was really asked to do was just take them down the first time, but he went above and beyond and didn't just take down the League of Villains, but their leader and possibly the most dangerous villain of all time, All for One. As to thank them and to show their gratitude, he is given a provisional hero license. And that is where we are ending this part off. I know, it's pretty an anticlimactic finish. Like, it's not the end of the series, obviously, but yeah, it's like less of a kind of plot twist, or it's not really a plot twist. What are the words for it? It's less of a dramatic finish with somebody speaking, etc., etc. This is a shorter part as well. I'm not sure how long it is. It's probably like, I don't know. I'd be lucky if it was 20 minutes. But yeah, so this was a part I just kind of skimmed through. It wasn't too important. I was able to get through it quite quickly, so I got through it quite quickly. So that's pretty much that. But anyway, that's that. So I hope you guys did enjoy this part. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, all of that jazz. Remember, all the links down in the description. Crown Fiend, Saint, Samuel Kim, all those guys, the absolute legends that they are, down in the description. So yeah, that's that. I hope you guys enjoy once again. And yeah, just remember, God is awesome, and you guys are too. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.